Hello. So I thought I'd show you the tree. I've not finished decorating yet. I've just kind of started, and I feel like when I look at this, I feel like that it always looks crooked, but Dave says it's just me. I don't know. I keep switching the phone around so that's me doing that. But I'll try to be still. I think it's just the way I see and look. I don't know. Anyway, there it is. I know it's not the most beautiful tree in the world, but it's pretty to me, and it's what I like. Now I'm going to add, some extra ornaments. I got to add my tree topper and, stuff like that. But at least I have a tree up. Last year I went the easy way. So, thank you. Hey y'all, it's Vicki, and welcome to another video. So today is Friday, December 5th, right? Yes, that's what the computer says. And I am not working today. I've got several things to do. And I want to finish decorating my tree. I'm supposed to, I guess, get my roots done today. I don't know. I've about decided almost to let it go and just see what it looks like 3 months from now. But I don't know. I'll let her tell me what she thinks we should do now. I'm not going to get any more pink put back in it. I'm not going to say I won't ever, but for right now, it'll just have to grow out. I'm not going to tell her to cover it unless, it has to be, or, it just happens to, if she foils it and it happens to fall in there, it falls in there. But I'm not adding any more. I think I'm going to tell her to take 2 inches, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right. We got to open up our 4th and 5th day here for the 50th anniversary edition of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I watched Marsha Johnson. I've been watching her. I'll link her channel below. She always does Vlogmas, and she does a terrific job at it, much better than I am. And she's doing a hot sauce one. I should have got that one, or one close to it. And if I can find one, I didn't even look at Walmart for a advent calendar, but if I can find one, I may start it. It will catch up. I'll try to make it different from hers, but anyway, if I don't find it, don't find it. Because, we both love hot sauce. All right. So this was the 4th, and it looks like the Grinch is playing a trumpet or a trombone or something. And I'm going to put these on the tree. And then we've got him with his sack. Here, this is the 5th. I guess this is when he's stealing the presents. He won't steal much here, because I'm not doing that much. All right, so we'll move on. So as I said, this was the 5th. The temperature is 35 degrees. We did not get any snow. Of course, they were telling us that we could get up to 3 inches. We got nothing, zip, nada. Even from what I could see, Boone did not get anything. And just the way it is. I said this was one time that I guess my mojo was gone, because I really felt this time we would get something. Whether it was a ½ inch or just a dusting. But as far as I know, no flakes fell. The temperature never dropped like I think they thought it would. So anyway, it is what it is, and we'll move on. Okay, I will put time stamps in the description box. And we're going to start with Tim first, and then we'll move on to something else. Okay, just so you know, I am wearing a mic today because we had the man from Minnesota to complain that I needed to wear a mic. So I have on a mic. I don't really think it makes that big a difference. I actually like my voice better without the mic, but I guess he was hearing the refrigerator running or something. So anyway, it is what it is. As I said before, I'm not here to be, the most professional YouTuber in the world. I'm just here to talk. Okay, so Tim put up a video on his gazebo that he was sent for a review. This is the one he's wanted for a while. And I have not watched all of the video. I'll be honest with you. I had people to send me messages and stuff like that. That in this video we see where Tammy is back. Well, I've always said she never went away. I mean, she may have went to where the daughter was, but they never split up. I don't think they ever split up. I think they just have this, I don't know what it is. I don't understand their relationship, and I'm sure a lot of people don't understand mine. But welcome back, Tammy. That's all I can say. Welcome back. And, if she drove 9 hours or ever what it is from supposedly North Carolina that she's living, in Charlotte or outside of Charlotte to see Tim, more power to her. I mean, I guess he must be really something else. And I mean, she must really truly love him if she's willing to drive that far, if she's living in North Carolina. I mean, that's another thing. Who knows? And I guess that in a way, it's not any of our business, but we can all speculate. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's how a lot of us got to know each other, was talking about Tim. And that's why I continue to talk about him. Now, who knows if he's going to keep this gazebo or what's going to happen with it. I don't know. I don't know how the deal he worked out with the brand. I don't know what he did. Anyway, now I understand he sent the camera back, which I said all along he would not keep that camera. And I understand he sent the percolator back too. So return Tim. I need to think of a better name for him than that. But anyway. So he's returning stuff like he always does. And Tammy is back to being the videographer. And that's just the way it is. That's the news there on that front. So then we're going to move on to something else here. And I'll be back. Okay, now we're going to move on to the NASCAR antitrust trial. And I know a lot of you may not be interested in this, but, if you're into court trials, you might be. I don't know. I am a big NASCAR fan or stock car racing fan. I'm not going to say that. I mean, NASCAR's, of course, all we've known, or all I've known. I'll put it that way. So that's why I say I'm a NASCAR fan. I'm a stock car racing fan. But NASCAR happens to be the sanctioning body. And Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, along with Front Row Motorsports, are suing NASCAR for antitrust, And we're on day 4 of this trial. Today is day 5. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about Jordan Bianchi and Jeff Gluck, who is on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Dirty Mo Media podcast. They have their own during the season, but this is being put on the main channel. And I'll link it below. They have been given the rundown every day, and that's what I've been watching. And it gets long because they cover they take notes, meticulous notes, and they, so I don't want to take anything from them. This is their job because they work for, I think, the athlete. So they are covering the trial, and that's who I'm watching. Now, on day 4, we started on day 3 with Bob Jenkins, who is the owner of Front Row Motorsports. And, he's the second team that's suing them. He does not have, of course, the money and the sponsorship that Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin do. So he feels he probably has a lot more to lose than they do, and he probably does. Now, his story is one of those American-made stories. He lived in the projects growing up, and he worked himself up at some fast food restaurants, eventually ended up buying into them. He owns, hundreds of, and that's no exaggeration for what I'm told, hundreds of Taco Bell restaurants. And he, I think, is the main owner now of Long John Silver's that's still left. So he's made his way, and he was a big race fan growing up, and that's why he decided to buy into a team later on. And I reckon over time it became his. There might be another investor in there, but I know he's majority. I can't remember if they mentioned anybody else or not. But anyway, he testified, and of course the NASCAR's lawyers start trying to say his story is, one-sided, because Bob Jenkins said that he felt he had a gun to his head at the end when the contract was to be signed. And that was the whole entire argument at the time when the new contract was signed, was they felt that they had to do it that night or else. And there was a deadline. It was midnight, I think, whatever night it was. And, they were supposed to give them ample time to read the contract. And they didn't. So that was the first reason why we were told that 2311 Racing and Front Row were signing. Well, then, NASCAR gives an example of when he was thinking about selling out part of the team to Denny and Michael. I think it was in 2021. And he had given Denny and Michael, or Denny, whoever, pretty much that same ultimatum, gave him, a few hours to sign the contract or else. So NASCAR gave that, it was tit for tat and all that junk. So anyway, finally he stepped down and they brought up Steve O'Donnell, which at the time of the contract signing, he was Chief Operating Officer. He's now President. But at the time, he was Chief Operating Officer, and which I think he may still be. I don't know exactly what his title, other than he's President right now. And anyway, they start the questioning of him and what started to happen. And they brought up, Jeff Gordon asking Ben Kennedy, who is the grandson or great-grandson of of Big Daddy France, and they asked him, was the family open to a more modern, contract and all that junk? And Ben said yes. Well, come to find out, no, the family wasn't open. So they wanted to make sure, the lawyers for Michael and Bob Jenkins wanted to make sure that the family was noted, like it's a mob. And I mean, that term has been used a lot over the years. It was used jokingly more in the 80s that, the France was supposedly they were more like a dictatorship. Always my way or the highway, and I know I've brought up that several times, but that's just the way it was. And I mean, it was kind of funny to most people, but they knew that was the best organization to race for. And, nobody ever seemed to be able to compete with him. There's been series to try, but over the years, they couldn't. And then once NASCAR started getting the big TV deals, and the Speed Channel went away, and I don't, that's just something, this is just my words here. The Speed Channel went away because the Speed Channel showed all different divisions. And my guess is, now that I'm looking at all this, I'm wondering, did NASCAR make that an ultimatum, was that they could only show NASCAR? But now I do know that Fox Sports does show some other divisions now. Sorry, I had a phone call to come in that I had to take. Okay. So anyway, and I forgot where I was at. Anyway, what they move on to talking about is the SRX series, which started, I want to say in 2018, 2019, maybe later than that. Don't quote me on these dates, but this was a series started by Ray Haverham and Tony Stewart. And of course, if you're a longtime NASCAR fan, you'll know those names. This was a division it was stock cars. They all were alike. They would be built by Ray and his team. And they were almost like the old IROC cars, but they were stock cars. And they were letting, pretty much from every series they were letting them drive. They got a TV deal with CBS, and they were there was 5 races a year, maybe more than that, maybe 8, now that I think about it. And it was ran in the summer. They ran on pavement and dirt tracks. They were all oval tracks, short tracks. And anyway, that is what NASCAR is trying to, or Steve O'Donnell is trying to say was somebody else had been able to do that, and that's where the competition problem and the fact that Michael Jordan and them are claiming they have a monopoly. Well, eventually this division went kaput. A lot of people think it went kaput. This is all speculative because NASCAR, on the new TV contract, NASCAR made sure that their tracks, meaning their tracks that run their races, I'm not saying just the tracks they own, but like Speedway Motorsports, which owns the Speedway here, and that they could not let those type of cars run. And I always wondered why, when North Wilkesboro was trying to reopen, they didn't get those cars here. Well, now I know. They knew if they did, they wouldn't be able to get NASCAR back. So that kind of tells me what was going on there. Now, a lot of these things are eye-opening when it comes to racing. Now, the judge has already scolded NASCAR because they broke a couple of rules. I mean, the lawyers for NASCAR. And, they've told them that it better not happen again. And when they say he's not letting them say hearsay. And, there's got to be somebody there to testify. At the end of yesterday, the fourth day, NASCAR lawyers said they needed to get Roger Penske, who if you're a racing fan, you know who Roger Penske is. He has Indy cars and, everything. He runs Indianapolis Raceway now. He has 4 teams in NASCAR, the main division. So he told them that only day they could get Roger Penske on the schedule, because his schedule's so busy, was Tuesday. And they didn't feel that they were going to be able to, or Monday. It's Monday or Tuesday. Anyway, with the way the timeline is going, there's no way they'll be to Roger, because Roger is a NASCAR witness. And the judge plainly said no. He said, we're not going to break down this trial to go out of order. We're going in order, and that's the way we're going to stay. But he also told them this trial is going to end in 3 weeks. So he's told them they need to speed it up. And a lot of what happens is, they said, was when the witnesses get up there, they're hesitant to say anything, and, they need to stop that. They need to say what's going on, and just, don't lie. Just tell it like it is. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. I think Richard Childress, and I don't know about Jeff Gordon being on the stand. I would say at this point he will be. And Rick Hendrick, who is Jeff Gordon's boss. And I think most of y'all know who Jeff Gordon is, or you know the name. Well, he's next in line at Hendrick Motorsports. I know he's invested in Hendrick Motorsports. I'm not sure what happens when, Mr. Hendrick passes. He's older. I'm sure there's some kind of deal in there that Jeff may become more of a owner, let's say. I don't know. That's speculative on my part. I just know that Jeff is, the next in charge. I think Jeff pretty much runs the show right now for Rick. I think he just is there. So that's about all I got to say about that. I don't know if any of y'all found that interesting. If you didn't, just don't worry about it. It'll be all right. All right. I'm going to cut you off again. All right. We're to beauty. And we're going to do a short thing on beauty and just talk about what I've been doing this week. I've been using a different foundation. I got out my old Dior Forever Skin Glow. This is it's almost completely empty. I wanted to use it up and just see how it compared to the stick. This one works much better right now. I'm going to say this one is better in the winter because it's glowy. But it is a Dior. I'm thinking that right now my skin loves Dior foundations. I need to try the CoverGirl, the old CoverGirl that I used to use sometimes in the winter, and see what happens with it. Okay, other thing that I've not really talked about, this is something I got at the Sephora sale. This is the Caliway Hideaway Brightening Under Eye Concealer. This is something that, you know, they say they sell it every 2 or 3 minutes or whatever. It's a pink concealer, so it's brightening. It's what I have on today. I would say this is definitely competition for my Maybelline Age Rewind in brightener. Of course, Maybelline is going to be around $20 cheaper or less expensive. Let's put it that way. But I got this on sale. That's what it looks like. I didn't bring the other one in here, but you're going to see that if you put them side by side with brightener, their brightener's a little peachier. Y'all, I think this has become my new holy grail. I think the Maybelline one has finally lost out. This one is creamier. It doesn't dry my under eyes out like the Maybelline does. And I've noticed that I can't wear it every day like I used to could. You know, your skin changes, especially in the winter time. I'm not running a humidifier in here right now. So anyway, I'm going to start. The throat's starting to get scratchy, so I'm going to have to go. But anyway, I think this is a new holy grail. It's $29, I believe, at Sephora. But I think it's worth every dime. If you've got dark under eyes, you might want to try this. Now, it's not going to make it go away. Nothing makes dark under eyes go away. But it might hide them for what you need. Or it will brighten it up to not make you look so tired. You know, since I've been wearing this, I don't have as many people telling me that I look tired like I normally do. But I think sometimes people do that because of my eyes, because of my, as some people say, my bedroom eyes. All right, I'm going to go, y'all. Thank you again for all your support this week. I do appreciate it. You know, YouTubers learn to put on an act. And I admit, the first of the week, it was all I could do to do videos. And even today, it's all I can do to do this video because I don't want to bring it up. But, you know, I know that it's there. But I appreciate all y'all's support. I really do. And I hope y'all have a great weekend. I will be back as much as I can. You know, there again, I may be just doing some shorts. It just depends. I don't know what we're doing this weekend. We do have, someone was gracious enough to gift us, it was not Tanglewood, but a person gifted us some tickets to Tanglewood to see the lights. So we will be going there, and I will be filming it. It will be the first time I've gone there in several years. I don't remember. Dave's never been, so I will be covering that. So you will see something this year on Christmas lights. So I'll talk to y'all later. Love you. Bye.